we're gonna do some makeup. I start with the Tatcha Silk Canvas as my primer, and it's just another layer of moisture. My skin, even though I did my full skincare routine this morning, it's already dry. So I focus this Tatcha cream, which it's an amazing Japanese brand. I focus it on my dry areas when I do my makeup, because nothing is worse than putting on foundation or any sort of skin tint and it cakes up. And a lot of times it's not necessarily the product that you're using, it's the product you're not using. So primer is really important. There's a lot of primers out there. I tend to go towards ones that are more moisturizer based, because my skin just dries up so quickly, which is why water is so important and proper skincare beforehand is so important. So I take my Tatcha, put it on my hands, warm it up, and I apply it to my skin as a primer. So now my nose, my forehead, my cheeks, basically my T-zone, which gets really moisture deprived, is now moisturized. So after that, this is where I'm gonna throw off the girls. I have really long eyelashes, and that being said, it comes with a messy mascara routine. Because the mascara, usually people put their mascara on at the end after eyeshadow, after face, after everything is done. If I do that, all of my mascara will end up on my eyelids, which will ruin absolutely everything trying to clean it. So I actually start after my brows, which I'm such a brow girl, but my brows started thinning out, and I love brow products. I was very good at finding the best brow pencil that made it look so natural, but now I don't have to do anything, and I'll give you my trick. Pregnancy is probably one of them. Not always suggesting that for everybody, but another thing that helped before I got pregnant was that my aunt, who's a doctor, she told me you need to start taking biotin. So I've been very consistent with biotin. My hair grew, my nails grew stronger, my eyebrows grew thicker again, and now all is well in my brow world. So I literally, my only thing that I do to my brows is I brush them. And I fill them out just by brushing them, and then I'm done with my brows. So back to my face. I start with my eyelashes first. And because I care a lot, girls, I care a lot about my makeup products as well. I have a lot of makeup. I love buying makeup. I don't wear a lot of makeup, but I love buying it, and I have a whole drawer full of it. So when it comes to my lashes, which I get complimented on all the time, I can thank my mother for that and God, but I also take care of my lashes. So they've seen thicker days, they've seen longer days, but they're still around. And my lash routine, my mascara routine starts with a primer. And this is the one that I continually go back to, is the Dior Lash Primer. And if some of you and a lot of people are like, what the heck is lash primer? Lash primer is like conditioner for your eyelashes. Mascara can be extremely drying to the lashes. It brings all the drama, it brings all the definition, but it can be incredibly drying. So lash primer is like a layer before your mascara, and it comes in this white tube. It's a white formula, and the bristles are very, very small and very defined. So then when you put it on your lashes, it's a base coat before your mascara comes on. So I use this Dior lash primer, and how little I put on makeup, my mascara and my primer could last a very long time, but it's dangerous to keep these for more than 3 months because a bacteria that comes in through the air will infiltrate into this and then make it come on your face, and it's not worth it. So I replace my mascara and my primer every 3 months. Not perfectly, but that's the goal. So it comes out in this white tube, it has a white formula, and I literally just apply it to my lashes as the base. And you don't need a ton, but I like to define it as much as I can. Think of it as just putting conditioner on your lashes. And what it also does, this Dior one especially, it has this fiber that it adds almost to your lashes in general. Now your lashes it creates this fiber of growth that you have a little more length and a little more thickness. And you just apply that on top of your natural lashes before you put your mascara. And it's pretty good about not clumping, but sometimes it does. Can you all hear the dogs? My dogs are outside. So after I put this on, you'll see my lashes are like Snow White. It looks like it just snowed on my eyelashes, which is what you want to see. And already you can tell they're more defined. They're ready to rumble. They look like they're already full without having mascara on them yet. And I let that set for, you know, a few seconds, 10 or 20 seconds, so that when I apply my mascara, it doesn't swipe off all of the primer that I just put on. So once I have this primer on, I kind of just fan it out a little, and you see just this white cast on my lashes. Now, girls, I am very serious about my mascara. I have tried so many. I have practiced with so many. And what I look for in a mascara is that it's not too dry, but it's not too wet. And the brush very much matters, because it will determine whether or not you will get spider lashes or natural lashes or drama. I like drama on my lashes, but I like them to look natural. This right now is my favorite. I've gone through tons of makeup and tons of mascara, but the Mackstack mascara is right now my favorite and has been in my rotation now for, this is probably my 3rd or 4th tube. And it is such a simple mascara with the fibers, and the wand goes from skinny to big, and it's just used for, it brings length, it brings thickness, it brings drama. But the thing I'll say about this, and I've not found a mascara that I can say this about, is you can put on 20 coats and this thing will not clump up. It is so nice. So if you like a lot of drama or you like to keep it natural, the mascara is really, really buildable. I usually do a couple of coats if necessary, but you'll see the transformation. So we've had our lash primer on, now we're going in with the mascara. I always take off excess. We don't need a lot of stuff on our wand because it already has some from just being in the tube. So here's our brush, and we go to work, and you'll see it instantly transforms your lashes. Girls, you'll see the reason I do my mascara first is my entire lid gets covered with mascara. Some people don't have that problem because your lashes are not very long, or you have a different technique that you need to tell me about. But for me, I do it first because my entire eyelid gets covered with mascara. Look at that. I can't make it up. This mascara is actually amazing. And it's not so expensive, but MAC has been in the game for a long time. I am not a MAC girly, but this one I love and I keep going back to. So that's just one coat, and I'm probably gonna be done after that. And then I'll do the other side. And for my method, I start always at the base. I wiggle and I get it on up to the ends. And nothing is worse to me than spider lashes or clumpy lashes or too wet of a formula that if you that it feels like it never dries. And that's literally one coat, and I'm pretty sure I'm done because I'm not doing anything crazy today, but I wanted to show you my makeup routine for when I do wear makeup. And after I do my face, I'll add a little bit, like today I'll even show you. This brush is so good because I like doing the bottom lash only very, very slightly, but I hate if it makes it look like the top lash. To me, that's too much. So I just literally wiggle 1 or 2 times on the bottom just to give the little appearance of definition there. And if it ever feels like I put too much, after it dries down a bit, I use a Q-tip that is cleaning, and I'll just show you guys. Look at the mess on top of my eyelids. It's inevitable for me, and I've accepted it, but I know how to clean it. So once I've done the rest of my face, my lashes are dry, and I can clean up my lids and under my eye. So now, lashes are done. Brows are brushed. Now we move on to the face. On a day-to-day basis, and I'll do maybe another time, I'll show you guys the foundations that I like, because I have quite a few, and I rotate them depending on the season or what's in them or how dark or light my skin has become from the weather or the sun. And right now, today I'm using, I love this stuff, is the Maybelline Superstay Skin Tint, and it has vitamin C in it, and it's very natural but buildable, and I like my skin to look like skin. I don't like my skin to look like I have a ton of makeup on. And it comes in this very like little eye drop kind of Doppler thing, and I don't even have to fill it because I literally just take what is on the stick from being in the tube and I just put slightly all over my face. And everybody has a different method of applying their their foundation. When it comes to skin tint, it's very sheer and it's very buildable, so I just put a little bit all over my face. And some people like to use a beauty blender, some people like to use a brush, or even your hand, depending on your technique. For my foundation, I like to use the Sephora 60 brush. It's very dense and it's very good for foundation, especially liquid foundation. And I just tap it in all over. And it's the sheerest coverage, but it just gives, because I take care of my skin, I don't need a ton of foundation. And girls, when you're doing your foundation or you're buying foundation, I'm no MUA, but I've matched a lot of my friends, and you wanna match your foundation to your neck, not your face, your neck. So a lot of times our necks are lighter than our face, and then you end up looking like you painted your face and you're a clown everywhere else because it doesn't match. And that's not the vibe. So this brush is really dense. It's good for stamping in, or it's good for just blending it all over your face. And the foundation that I'm using, because it's a skin tint, it has skincare in it. So it allows you to still feel moisturized, not dry. And because I've done the Tatcha as the base for my makeup, it just doesn't set in cakey. It just looks like I just evened my skin tone out. And some days, whether if I'm going to be on camera or in harsh light, you just adjust your foundation as necessary. Today, we're not doing too much. So blend it down into your neck. One thing I will say is, since being pregnant, I feel like my face went from like to, and we've made the adjustment. Maybe y'all don't see it, but I certainly see it. And it's temporary. We're working with it. But that's where makeup comes in, because we snatch with contour. Okay, so now that foundation is done, my concealer. I'm very natural with the concealer. My favorite one is the Kosas concealer. I do it a little lighter than my actual skin, so that some people who have dark under eye circles, or you have some discoloration under your eyes apart from the rest of your face, you don't want to go too much lighter than your skin, but anything that is lighter than your foundation will be a brightener. So I use this to take the shadows out of, if your face is a bit sunken in and your eyes are sunken in, or it comes out, you just have to use it to what works best for your face shape. I literally just do the tiniest dot. It's almost useless, but this one goes such a long way. I dot under my eyes. I don't do the triangle or any of the heavy stuff. For you glam girls, I might not be the one for you for the makeup, but I dot under my eyes. I dot where my laugh lines are, and then I kind of create where my contour is gonna sit above. I create some light underneath it, and then a little on my forehead. And that's it. And for this, you can use a brush. I have a really good Hourglass concealer brush or a Rare Beauty concealer brush, but today I'm using my beauty blender. And the key to a beauty blender, if you don't know, which I'm sure many of you do, don't use it dry. Wet it, wet it, wet it, wet it. So I just take it under the sink. I pump it a few times with water to make sure that it's soaked. And the reason you do that is because you don't want the product to soak in to the sponge, because a sponge soaks product, and these are sponges. So you want it to just be able to blend in the product that you've put on your face. And the great thing about this Kosas concealer, because some of you are like, she has taken too long to blend this in, it's very blendable and it gives you a second to do it. So I just take that and I start blending it in. And if you see any redness I have around my nose, that kind of disappears, that the skin tint I didn't press too much on. And then I blend it into my under eyes. I blend it in up where my eye shape is, and it kind of just brightens that. So now it feels like we're awake, even if we're not. And I am Egyptian, if you didn't know. So in our culture, a lot of women have dark under eye circles or pigmentation under their eye that doesn't match their face, which is very normal for some Middle Eastern women. And that littlest bit of concealer, I almost overdid it, you know? And a lot of people are like, well, you barely put anything on. But when you have a good concealer, you do not need much. So I already can see I'm gonna have to clean my mascara up. But imagine if I would have done that at the end with my lashes, I would have had to wipe my entire face because it would have just ruined everything. So I've put my concealer in the places where I needed it. And then we just let that be for a second. And then I move on to my contour. And Patrick Ta slays with the contour. I buy his contour duo. Half of it is cream, which obviously you could see I use a lot, and the other half is powder. Because I've been using a lot of cream-based products, I like to stay with cream-based throughout. So on my contour, I have, this is in She's Bronzed. I guess I could have told you guys all the colors if you're the same skin tone as me, but this is the She's Bronzed. He has 3 shade ranges, and this covers light to medium complexions. There's one lighter, mine is right in the middle. And so I take that and I use this is Patrick Ta's contour brush. It's the 4 Contour 1. And I love the shape of it because it's very dense, but it holds the shape so that when I'm putting on my contour, I know I'm not gonna be spreading it all over my face. And I don't wear a ton, but my placement of contour is gonna take my blowfish pregnancy face to a little bit more snatched, and we appreciate that. So when I place my contour, I literally just do it. Some women go from here all the way up, or depending on your face shape, it's just different. For me, I found because I like a more natural look, I just start it like where my cheekbone actually is, right below it, and I stamp that sucker in like that. And for us girlies who have a bigger forehead like me, this is not the only place that I put my contour. I bring it in after I do my cheeks like this, which this is a very blendable and buildable contour. You can add more later, but you can't take it off. I do it all over my forehead, only on the top, part, and it just brings a shadow, so then it makes my forehead look a little bit more small. And I'll do that on my forehead just at the top. And because I have a light foundation, it's not moving all over the place. It's a layer over my skin that looks like skin, and it's not shifting and running everywhere. So if you see, that's already bringing this into here. So I brought the forehead down into my cheeks, which I don't use too much, you guys. And then sometimes I do the sides of my nose. Not really sure what it does because my nose is pretty long, but it just adds some shadow on the sides. And then after I do that, this is where the neck was defined and the chin was defined. And I'll show you guys also, I do a gua sha treatment like with my stone, and it really does help to naturally contour your face without having to go get a procedure or having to lose a ton of weight or whatever the cases are that your face is blown up or swollen or inflamed. There's so many techniques that I can share that are natural that will help reduce swelling in the face. Unfortunately, during pregnancy, there's little to not much I can do. So when it comes to my neck and my chin, I don't apply it on my jawline. I apply it right below. So then it creates a shadow underneath the face that allows you to look more defined. And I don't put too much. I'm obviously not like the gentlest makeup applicator. But if you see, that just created a shadow and a darkness under my face that now it looks a bit more defined than it used to. So you do under your chin, under your jawline. You're not setting it on top, you're doing it underneath. So then the contour or the darkness is underneath, which creates a shadow, which makes what's not contoured illuminate. So I'm not doing too much today, but you can add to your discretion. A lot of times after I get dressed, I'll see if I need more. And then I go on to blush. And my blush, again, because I've been using cream and liquid products, I also do cream or liquid blush. This is my new favorite. It's the Dior Forever Glow Maximizer. And this is in the shade Rosy. So this is so pretty. And what I love, there's some really good liquid blushes out there. This one's on the sheer side, so it's a little bit more natural. So if I put more than I expected to, it's not gonna feel too heavy because it's liquid, but it's still sheer. So I do it like that. I put it right above where I put my contour. And then I use my beauty blender to just blend out my blush. And it's just a very pretty pinky shade that just adds the slightest amount of color, sometimes I put it on my nose, to my cheek area. And some people love a lot of blush. Today we're just keeping it a little natural, but it doesn't feel heavy. So if I would have done like a powder blush or something heavier, then it would have made everything else look like, okay, it's not supportive enough. So if you stay with the same products, meaning cream or liquid or powder or whatever your preferences are, I prefer cream and liquid because they look more natural. So then I just have the slightest rosy glow to my face because of that. And now, after that, and it sets pretty evenly, pretty well, Dior also came out. I'll show you two of my favorite highlighters. Their Forever Glow Maximizer, they also have in a highlight, and this is in Pearly, and this is just like an iridescent white highlight that I put on top of where my blush went. So I kind of layer. I go foundation, concealer, contour, blush, highlighter. And my highlighter, I bring it kind of like around my eyes as if you were like just painting little baby stars on your face. And it looks very white right now. But once I blend it, you'll see it just creates like the prettiest like illumination to your face without doing too much. So if I were to go on camera, I would probably use this other highlighter that I'll show you. The liquid just is more natural and sheer, whereas the powder, which also works really, really well, and I actually might just show you that on top of it because it's not too heavy. There's some really glammy highlighter out there. I tend to go towards the more natural one. This is also Dior. It's a powder highlight and it's in the color Nude Glow. I've used this so much it broke, but I still use it. It looks like it's so sparkly and glowy, but it's actually, I put it on a highlighter brush. I got this from Target, this highlighter brush, and I literally could go on top of this and it will just add the sparkle, but it's still very natural. So I'll do the tip of my nose, and if you see, it just added just a little bit more volume that the liquid was a little bit more muted on. So now my face has a glow for the highlight on the top of my cheeks, and when you do highlight, you just want it to glow where you want it to glow. And for me, that's this area right above my cheekbone and above my eye, and then the tip of my nose, and sometimes I'll bring it up. But that's that. And then after that, I move on to lips. You can still see my lids are struggling. There's mascara all over, but trust the process, we're getting there. And on a more natural day, I always use like a natural lip liner. I love the NYX Nude Truffle, but I've also forgotten about this one, which I love. This is a Chanel lip liner, Longwear lip pencil in Nude Brune, which it's just, for my lip color, it's like perfect match. So what I do, and some people don't have full lips, some people have very full lips, I just line the bottom. I overline just a bit so that and if you can see, like, you can see the lip liner, but it's not like stark and showing. And on the other side is this blending brush. So if I wanted to smear it out a little and just make it a little bit more blended, I could do that. And then in the top, I go above my lips just a little bit, just to make them a bit more full. And then I'll go into my lips just to blend it. But if you see, like, I just do slightly over, and you have to clean it up. I'm not perfect. I am not the perfect lip girly, but if you have a color that matches your lips, mistakes are easier to get away with because you're not having to do too much cleanup. So I blend that in. I've overlined just a little bit, but I've defined my lips enough to where on a regular day, I don't want to do too much and it's still useful. Now, when it comes to lips, girls, I have a lot of lipsticks in my Rolodex, but on a regular day, I like lipsticks that kind of are hybrid glosses, and Hourglass makes a really good and I'll give you a little tip. If your lips are not as full like mine, then the smaller your applicator, the easier it is for you to do your lips. The bigger the applicator, you have to be way more precise, and for me, that is not a professional. I like a smaller applicator, and this is more like, it's a lip and a gloss together, it's not fully gloss and it's not fully lipstick, but it has a lot of shine. And this is the Hourglass in color Rousse 180. I have a lot of these, and sometimes I just throw them in my purse and they're good for application. But it's like close to my lip color, but just enough shine. And it adds enough color. This thing will stay on. And there you go. And it's a little plumping, which I love. I love accentuating things that I don't naturally have. But that just was like, it's a good everyday lip that is easy to apply. So with the Chanel liner and the Hourglass lip combo, we are set on lips. So now we're going back to the eyes because, honey, we have to clean up. I just use a Q-tip. I literally will wet the end of a Q-tip and I know that it's already dried. If I wanted to add more drama to my lashes, which we could if we wanted to, but that Mackstack mascara will not clump, you can put as many layers as you want and it just won't. But now I have all of this to clean up. So what I do is I literally will take a Q-tip and clean the top of my lid. The reason you don't want to do this immediately after you put your mascara is because your mascara is still wet. So if it's still wet and you apply water, then you've messed up your mascara. Right now it's pretty set. If I wanted to add, or I felt like my lashes shifted a bit, I could 100% do that. But I'll use one Q-tip per eye because that's usually how much it takes to clean up. And now my lids are clean on this side. And today I am adding a natural like nude eyeshadow, so anything that I didn't get will be covered with that. So I'll take it, I didn't do too bad on this side. Wet that Q-tip, and I try to get as close to the lash line without jacking up my mascara. And you see that it came off on the thing. And I'll just show you guys just because I like a little drama. This is the same mascara. I don't need any excess. And I can add a little bit more if I want. And sometimes I don't necessarily need more drama. I just need to shift my lashes back into place. And because they're majority dry, if not dry already, it doesn't take much for them to come back alive. And now we're good. So on days that I am doing, and this might be a little unconventional for everybody else, but on days that I am doing a natural eyeshadow, which I love, this is my favorite palette right now. It's Danessa Myricks, and this fell off or you would see it. It's a combo of cream and powder, natural nudes of eyeshadows, and it is so pretty. I've used it so much. You can obviously see the colors I go to all the time, but I use the cream shadows as just an all over on the base, and it just brings everything together so that your lid is not trying too hard like you're doing glam, which I do have some glam palettes that I really love, but if this is for an everyday thing, I'll just dab into this is Mirage and this is Desert. I'll put my brush into both of them just to create a combo, and I'll go over my lid with that, and it just creates depth. Like all of a sudden now this side has some life. It almost looks like it's not there, but when you see it next to the eye that doesn't have anything, it just added a sense of put together. We wrapped the face together. And then my brushes, I just got eyeshadow brushes from Sephora. You don't need anything fancy when you're doing with cream, because truly you could probably use your finger for cream eyeshadows. And I don't know if anybody else has this problem, but every time I do my makeup, my nose starts dripping, so pardon me on that. So I just put those two colors together and created a lid that is natural, but it gives you a little bit of zhuzh, and it needs almost nothing. And these are so pigmented that I don't need to put much for it to show up. And my eyes are like hazel, so sometimes you have green, sometimes it's a honey brown, but depending on the shadow that you use and the colors you wear, the colors of shadow and the colors of your clothes, all of those things can help enhance your eye color. So if you have hazel eyes, you can do your golds, you can do your greens, you can even do purples, and those will all bring out your natural eye color. I won't do too much. There is this like kind of clay color called Core, and sometimes I'll do that, and I'll just use that on the crease to create a little bit of depth there. And that's it. So if I want to add, which I don't think I'm going to do today, but if I were going to do more glam, I like my lashes to look fuller without having to, I don't use falsies, I don't use fake lashes, and nothing against that, but I don't feel like I need them. But if I want to add more definition to my eyes, I'll use this Revlon liquid eyeliner and it's a tiny sharp point that allows you to put, I go as close to, and actually I'll just do it. I put it as close to the lash line, only from the middle to the end. I don't wing anything out. I don't do anything crazy. I just add from the middle. It's like it's creating thickness to my natural lashes. And you can't even see it's there, but it makes it look like my lash line is thicker. And then after that, we're done. And the only thing left is to set it. So if I want my makeup to stay all day, I like this one. There's so many refresh and setting sprays out there. This is by Milk. It's the Milk Hydro Grip Set Primer. And I just put it a distance from my face, and I just sprinkle this all over. And it just puts everything in place. But that's the face with the hair. Bounce and zhuzh that thing out, and we are good to go. And all the products that I used, I will put them below so that you guys can see them again.